Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cook with Brooke, the cooking show that doesn't have any food. Although we kind of broke the rules last time when we had Carrie Knife come in and she actually showed us how to make a breakfast casserole for the holidays. Hopefully you had a chance to use that recipe. I know I did. It was fantastic, and thank you, Carrie, for coming on and helping us with that. Today, we have Lisa Jo Spencer coming on. She is an attorney, former Air Force JAG, so she will be here and she's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the tools that you may need to make sure that your wishes are all well documented as you get a little bit older, and you need to make sure that you have all those pieces in place. Before we do that though, I just want to talk a little bit, as we have been talking about COVID, and then I'm going to share a little bit more information about our plan for the vaccinations that are coming up. So we're doing well on campus. Certainly you have seen the number of cases across the state of Florida, in Okaloosa County, in Santa Rosa County. The numbers have really gotten high. It's very scary. So I ask you, please be careful. Watch where you go, watch who you're spending time with, wear a mask, practice social distancing, make sure you wash your hands. The same things that we've been talking about for months and months are what you need to do now to keep protected, because there seems like there's just a lot more cases and there's a lot more opportunities for you to get sick. So please be careful. We have had a couple of our staff members that were out over the holidays that were sick. They quarantined and they've returned to work. We've had a couple of residents also that tested positive, so they quarantined and they've been released. So right now we're in a pretty good place, but again, we have to be very careful, and we can't let our guard down. We need to be doing all the right things to protect not just ourselves and our own family, but our larger family, our Air Force Enlisted Village family. So please be careful. Please do the right things for you and for our community. So talking about vaccines, good news, we are going to have a vaccine clinic conducted by Walgreens starting next week. And next week, if you're not on a timestamp here, is going to be the second week of January. So they will be out here the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They're going to start with the Hawthorne House, and they're going to do the Hawthorne House residents and staff members, and then they're going to come over on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they're going to do Bob Hope Village. So all told, that's about 700 different vaccines that are going to be administered out here by this Walgreens team. So we're very happy about that. I know that there may be some people that are still looking at this, wondering whether it's the right thing for them to do, and that's obviously a personal decision. I will tell you, I have total confidence in the vaccines that were developed, and some people have looked at this and they've looked at the process and they said, wow, you developed a vaccine in a year. That's too fast. Normally the timelines are more spread out. But I would tell you, in this case, this vaccine in particular, they've been working on this for many years. It wasn't specific to COVID-19, but it was for a respiratory type of illness, like the bird flu and like SARS, these type of infections. They've been working on this type of vaccine for a long time. So it was a matter of them taking what they already have, modifying it specifically for COVID-19, and then of course you had the entire world focused on solving this problem. We all have known for a long time that the vaccine is the pathway for us to be able to move out of the situation that we're in right now. So you had unlimited resources, you had all the best people around the world, and everybody coming together in a single focused effort. So I think the timeline may look like it's really short, but when you consider the work that was done beforehand and then the level of effort that went into developing this vaccine, I think we're in a great place. So again, I have 100% confidence in it, and it's proven to be very effective, 95% effective, which is a great number. So I look forward to getting the vaccine, and I hope that you do as well. And we understand though that there may be questions. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. Talk with Terry at the Hawthorne House. Talk to Bobby Joe over at the Bob Hope Village. Talk to anybody at the headquarters, myself obviously included in that. We want to get everybody vaccinated. We want the campus to feel safe and secure. And the sooner we get that going, the better off we will be, and we will be able to make some modifications to some of the operations that we have here at the Enlisted Village. So I thank you for that, and if I didn't say it earlier on, and I know I didn't, Happy New Year. 2021 is going to be a fantastic year, and we kind of broke the rules the last time when we had cooking on the show, when we say we don't do that, and so we thought maybe we'd break the rules this year and we would not do any jokes, just as a new change, but I'm just kidding. We're going to do jokes. You know, I can't get away from these jokes. So it's an attorney joke because we have Lisa Jo Spencer on today. So an attorney goes in and is talking with an accused person, and the attorney says, I have some good news and some bad news. And the accused says, well, what's the bad news? The attorney says, the bad news is your blood is all over the place. They have DNA matches. There's no doubt that you were linked to the crime scene. And the accused says, well, what's the good news? He said, well, your cholesterol levels are very, very low, so you're going to be healthy. So that's joke number one. Joke number two, a lawyer has just undergone surgery and wakes up from the anesthesia. The blinds are drawn in the recovery room, and they say, well, why are the blinds drawn? And the nurse says, well, we closed the blinds because there's a fire right across the street, and we didn't want you to wake up and think that you hadn't survived the operation. Okay, so those are the jokes. We're going to be back in just a second. We're going to hop over, take a look at the menu from Carrie and the Knife's Edge team over there. So enjoy that. Make sure that you go support them. We'll be right back. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Hopefully you get a chance to go over to Knife's Edge and try some of their wonderful food. So we now have our special guest, Lisa Jo Spencer, and she is with us today, and she's going to tell us a little bit of information about some of the things that she does as a lawyer for the village. But first, I'll ask her to give us a little bit of a bio of yourself and your background.
Sure. Well, as you say, I'm a lawyer. My first job as a lawyer was in the Air Force as a JAG, and so I served 11 years total between active duty and reserves. And then now I'm in private practice here in Mary Esther, and I focus on estate planning, probate, and guardianship. So that's what we're here to talk about, how to avoid probate and guardianship and what you need for estate planning.
Right. So tell us a little bit. Most people probably already have the will and some of the other documents they need, whether it's a living will or a power of attorney or medical power of attorney. A lot of these things get bantered around. So can you talk to some of those terms and help people understand?
Sure. I'd love to. Your will, your last will and testament is obviously the document that tells people where you want your items to go when you pass away, who you're giving them to when you pass away. Obviously, this is only for things that you own in your individual name and don't already have a beneficiary on them. And so that's what it does not avoid probate, though. So, there's things that we can help people with. There's no cookie cutter for avoiding probate. And so it's one of those things you need to speak to a legal professional about having to do that. A living will, which people sometimes get confused, the living will is that end-of-life document, the one that basically you're telling people what the terms of your end of life is going to look like. So do you want feeding tubes? Do you not want or do you want to hydration? Things like that the doctors will help your family with, but it's telling your family how you want to go with dignity, and that sort of thing. Along with that is a healthcare surrogate, sometimes called a medical power of attorney, or a medical directive. They've got different names for them. It's a medical power of attorney. Why we call it a healthcare surrogate instead, I don't know. It just confuses things, but that's what we lawyers like to do, I guess. I didn't name them. But that's the document, not for end of life. That's just the general, if you need your kids to help you make some medical decisions or somebody to help make medical decisions in case you're incapacitated and can't do it, but it's not that end of life time. The durable powers of attorney. Durable is the key word. Durable means it survives incapacity or incompetence. So that power of attorney is the document that helps people pay their bills, pay their taxes if they're still filing taxes, any of those kind of things. It can be, they're not like, especially for all of your spouses of military members back in the day, you had a power of attorney that was this big, that was a general power of attorney that said, my power of attorney can do anything and everything. Not the case anymore. A general durable power of attorney that we give for spouses can be up to 30 pages long. Oh, wow. The limited one is usually about 15. So because we're delineating exactly what people can do. And that's obviously preferable because you've said exactly what it is. So those are the main key documents. There's other things that we can use. Sometimes people also hear about a living trust or a revocable trust. Living trust, revocable trust are the exact same document. It's a contract really with yourself that is a way to avoid probate. So, yeah.
And a lot of people will get those, but what are do most people need it? It seems kind of like...
no, most people don't. We used to need it, and depending on what happens with the new administration coming in and taxes, and what that estate tax exemption level is, we may have to go back to recommending revocable trusts for most everyone. But right now, the threshold is over $11 million per person. That's going to sunset, but and then of course it'll probably change, but. Right now, unless somebody's got $11 million, they're not getting a revocable trust for tax reasons. There's plenty of other reasons. You maybe own property in another state. You may have ways that you want your distributions to go that can't be handled just through beneficiary designations and things like that. So there's lots of reasons we still do trusts, but it's not necessarily for tax purposes anymore. And once the tax changes, once we know what they're going to be, then obviously everything will change. We will get our clients in and say, do we need to update anything? Because we mostly do will-based planning. And as hopefully your residents know, they are entitled to a free will through the military. I encourage you to do so. And then if you want somebody like me to look at it, my office reviews them for free for our especially for your folks. Most offices will probably do that. They may not. They may charge a consultation fee, but definitely make sure the lawyers on base are not necessarily Florida attorneys. Your residents are Florida residents, no matter where they came from. So it's important to have a Florida lawyer kind of look at things and make sure you're avoiding probate. Probate's a very expensive process to go through, and it takes a long time. And so we try to make sure that our clients can avoid probate if they can, if there's a way to do it.
That's good. So if people have questions for you, obviously this is a ton of great information, and I think people will probably have to soak this in a little bit.
Absolutely.
So if they have a follow-up question, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. You can call my office, 850-226-4998. I almost gave my cell number there. So 850-226-4998. Jesse and Sarah are my paralegals, and they're amazing. They'll talk to you. They'll set up an appointment. We can either come to you if you're not able to come to our office, or you can come to the office. We are equipped to do everything through Zoom, telephone conferences. We have to meet with everybody in person to sign documents. But we can have those initial conferences so that everybody feels comfortable and is safe, either on the telephone or via Zoom if they want to watch it, want to do it that way and actually lay eyes on somebody. Or we can come out here and meet with you in your apartment.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the final thing I'd like to ask about, and we've had a couple of situations where individuals here in the village needed a guardian.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a particularly difficult time for
It's a
people.
very difficult time. So we always tell everybody, whenever we're doing estate planning for anybody, I don't care how beautiful your estate plan is, if it comes time for someone to move from the independent apartments into Hawthorne House or another assisted living type environment, or even skilled nursing, and they say no, or they need people to be coming in and checking on them, and they say no. It doesn't matter how beautiful your estate plan is, you're going to have, and you really do need to move and you're not safe to be on your own, then a guardianship has to be put in place. Or if you don't have any documents in place and suddenly somebody needs to pay your bills and take care of things for you, the only thing to do is to establish a guardianship. It's a very onerous process. It's a very invasive process. It is not something anybody wants to go through if they don't have to. It's also terribly expensive. So it cuts into that money that you either would want to be leaving to your family or that you need to take care of yourself. And it's about $10,000 just to get it established because of all the people that are involved and all the fees that are involved. It's not like all that's going to me. And very little of it comes to me for what we're doing in it. And it's something that then the court is involved in your life until you pass away or the guardianship goes away. So it's not something that is recommended, although unfortunately sometimes people put off their estate planning, and so there's nothing in place and suddenly the bills can't get paid. Nobody's got access to the bank account, nobody's got access to retirement accounts or whatever. And when that happens, and it may just be one account, you may, and we don't ever recommend that you add your children or whomever as a joint owner on an account, although I know a lot of people do that as basic estate, but that's not recommended. There's a whole host of reasons, and we can talk to people on an individual level why. We would rather you do a durable power of attorney for your children or whoever to help pay your bills. Right. And if if you're at that point where you really don't have any family, we know people in town that are amazing professional guardians, also very familiar with the community out here. You all have worked with them, that can be professional guardians that can take over and help people. They can either do that. They can also step in. We've had clients who, for whatever reason, their family wasn't able to help them pay their bills or whatever. They can be the power of attorney for somebody without going that full level to a guardianship if you still have capacity to grant that. Right. So yeah.
That's terrific. And of course the key to this is doing it in advance.
Yes.
Planning and getting these documents in place so that you don't end up in a situation to where it's out of your control. Once you
lack the capacity to be able to tell somebody what you want to do and have it make sense. I mean, people can kind of say, and it doesn't take a lot of capacity, but it takes, you got to be able to, you got to be able to tell what you want. So yeah, do it sooner rather than later. And you can have either us hold on to the documents or you hold on to the documents, and you don't have to give it to your agent so that because once you sign the documents, they are in effect. But if you don't give it to anybody, then it's not. So we got ways to help you with everything.
Well, you are so helpful, and thank you for coming out and for sharing this. I know this is a subject that most people don't really want to talk about.
Nope, not at all.
It's clearly difficult, and families need to have that big conversation about what's going to happen if, and you start filling in the blanks. But personally, I know a few years ago when my mom passed away, we knew exactly what her wishes were, and it made a huge difference to the family to be able to transition through that time. So thank you for coming out and sharing.
Thank you for having me. I love to work with your clients, and as do all the other attorneys in town. We don't want to steal anybody from any other attorney.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Thanks again, and we look forward to talking with you again soon.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you very much. happy birthday to our January babies. And thank you for watching another episode of Cook with Brooke. We had the great pleasure of having Lisa Jo Spencer with us today. She talked with us about some of the tools that you and your family may need as you age. So we talked a little bit about wills, powers of attorney, and she clarified some of that information for us. Very helpful, and if you have any questions at all, again, she's available to help you and your family understand the tools that you will need. We also had a chance to talk a little bit about COVID, a little bit about the vaccines. As a matter of fact, by the time you're watching this, we're probably going to have vaccine clinics going on here at the Air Force Enlisted Village, which is very, very exciting. We've been waiting for the change to come along, the opportunity for us to return back and to get into a new type of operation. And the vaccine is going to be that. We're so happy to be able to have the opportunity to get the residents, staff, and team members of the Air Force Enlisted Village vaccinated so we can start to move forward again. And so we will get more information to you on that. It's going to be a number of times that they're going to be out here. So we will be talking about this probably for the next 6 to 8 weeks. As we transition through this time frame. So again, I want to say thank you for watching Cook with Brooke. It's always a pleasure. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact either Terry at the Hawthorne House or Bobby Joe over at Bob Hope Village, or of course the headquarters at the Air Force Enlisted Village Foundation. We would be glad to answer any questions that you have, especially as it has to do with vaccine and COVID. So stay safe, stay healthy. God bless you all, and we'll see you again soon.